Roll call?
President Weatherston.
Yes.
Trustee Lambert.
Yes.
Trustee Wishaw.
Yes, here, whatever.
Trustee Martin.
I'm sure what the question was.
Trustee Pierce.
Here.
Trustee Spillman. And Trustee McManus
She's
is
excused.
excused.
Excuse, no babysitter.
They can't take care of themselves yet?
No, not yet.
Yeah, what the hell, they're old. I saw how tall that kid was on Facebook. He should be able to take care of himself. Okay, public comment? There isn't anybody. Approval of the minutes from the committee of the whole, December 10?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 10th meeting.
Thank you,
Second.
Nance.
No, was it December 10th?
Yeah, it was.
Well, then I can't make that motion because I wasn't.
Were you not
Oh,
here?
yeah, you were. I'll move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Fran. We have a motion,
Okay,
a
let's-
second. I'll motion if nobody wants to.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not sure I
second.
was here either.
Fran did the motion and
And Lee did the second.
I'll second it. Sure,
All
why
in favor,
not?
say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Fran, you got the floor.
Okay,
King
I'll
County
make,
Convention and Visitors Bureau.
no, I'll
update.
make this quick, but I do want to let you know that we're working on the building. The building is, it's had problems, the parking lot had problems and so on, and so we have an architect involved, and the plan is to rearrange the interior of the building so that be used for the Visitors Bureau. So that's my big news. But what I also want to say is that if anyone knows of any events that are happening in Caledonia, let me know so that we can let the Visitors Bureau know so that they can post it. So,
Thank you.
including any businesses that are having any kind of celebration, or for the village, you know, if there's anything going on, police or fire department, let me know and I can, so I'll let them know, or you could call Carrie Grieving directly.
Thank you, Fran.
Yeah.
New business, A, repeal and replace ordinance Title 7, Chapter 4, transient merchants, direct seller. Did you want to comment on this?
I think that, Tim.
Tim's going to do this? Trying to earn his fee for tonight, isn't he?
Okay, the ordinance that you have,
Yep.
the ordinance that you have on the books came from a model ordinance that was done through the Wisconsin DOJ back in the early 90s. Hasn't been updated much since that point in time. What we're finding across the state and some of our other clients are being threatened with litigation because some of the content of these direct seller ordinances, or otherwise known as transient merchant ordinances, has not kept up with the case law. And I don't know, not too long ago, we would have been before you to update your sign code. And I don't know if you remember, you had to make it content neutral. So you can't, because it's a free speech issue, you couldn't regulate certain kinds of uses differently. And so we had to maneuver our way through that whole morass. Well, the same principle applies to direct sales. It's a free speech issue. Not everybody likes having people knock on their door, but they have the right to do that. They can talk about religion and politics, or try and sell you something. So back in the Reed decision, that was 2015, where you have to be content neutral. That created a lot of consternation among the municipalities as to how can you practically make your ordinances content neutral. The U.S. Supreme Court gave us some relief in 2022 with the City of Austin decision, but essentially you are now able to treat commercial speech a little differently than non-commercial speech. And so we can regulate direct sales, but we have to be careful. We have to have a compelling governmental interest. So some of the language in here has been changed to kind of pick up that theme that we're content neutral. One of the issues that we've come across in other municipalities is the exemptions that were normally set forth in your peddler ordinance or your direct sale ordinance had a whole litany of groups that didn't have to comply with it, whether it was farm sales, charitable organizations, that kind of thing. So we had to kind of modify the language of that. This is one of the least popular changes has been due to some federal decisions, even in the Seventh Circuit, that covers Wisconsin. Kenosha County, they had an 8 p.m. curfew in their ordinance, and that was struck down.
Huh.
Essentially, if you keep it at 9 o'clock, you're okay. So everybody's going to 9 o'clock now. So yours had 8 o'clock. Wasn't that bad, but it would go to 9 o'clock. One of the things that we wanted to do, though, was to provide an opportunity for the residents to combat what some people say is an invasion of their privacy when they don't want people knocking on their door trying to sell them a service or a good. And you have the benefit of having a staff that's willing to take on some extra responsibilities. And that would be the creation of a do not solicit list, a registry that would be kept current on your website. And it would be up to the direct sellers to check to make sure before they knock on the door that they're not knocking on a door that's signed up for the do not contact list. Your materials in the the packet were very detailed. I was very impressed with it in terms of the SOP that's been put together and how is this practically going to work to put this into effect. I think it's going to be very popular. And so other municipalities have been doing this, but they're grappling with mechanics and having adequate staff to do this. So that's the reason why we're doing it. The other area of the ordinance that needed some buttressing up was in the past there was some loose language that if you contacted another municipality that somebody had sold in within the last few months and there were concerns raised, that was enough for you to deny that person the right to get registered in your community. We tighten that up so it requires a conviction of some sort. So if someone gets a ticket, so if somebody violates your ordinance now and they knock on a door that's not supposed to be knocked on, or they don't leave when they're told to leave, and you issue a citation and they get convicted through your municipal court, that would be something that would be able to be held against them when they go to the next community and they do the background checks. There's an appeal procedure here, and then there's also a revocation procedure. So if you find out later on that someone lied on their application, or there are issues with how they're actually doing their door-to-door sales, you can revoke the seller's permit. That's all I have.
Any questions?
Yeah, Tim, do these permits go to what's happened in the past and what really provoked this is, I forget what they were selling, pest control or something. Is it the organization that gets the permit or the individual people coming up and knocking on the door?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's just going to the individual persons. And your administrator has been pushing to see if we couldn't find some precedents for expanding that. And frankly, we haven't been able to find anybody that's been doing that. But if you think about it, we've been thinking about alcohol sales so that you give out a license for someone to to sell alcohol. And if their employees are not following the law, you can hold that against them. So we're thinking about whether we could set up a similar system here. But it'd be nice to find someone who's gone through that and it's been challenged and they've been successful.
Because the problem is, some person shows up at your door, knocks, you say, yeah, I don't want you here, blah, 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 blah. You call the police, and then finally they go away before the police get there. I mean, the practical problem is ticketing that person and saying, now you personally can't do it, but then their next, I mean, it's a whole culture, I would say, like a corporate culture that gets these people doing the high pressure thing. And to me, it's that corporation or whatever they are, business, that should be getting it, not the individuals.
Right. And so we are looking into that to see if we can expand it. But in the meantime, I think we need to get your ordinance updated so that you can't be challenged. There isn't, for example, I know of one law firm out of Dallas that they're apparently very successful with this. And if they're successful in challenging your ordinance, they get attorney fees and their costs. And so it's quite a lucrative field, I guess. The other thing we've been finding is other communities to with a lot of the Ring cameras and that kind of thing. So they're able to actually record the interaction, and that's been helpful in prosecuting. One other thing is the exemption for charitable, it's still there. It's just been tightened up a little bit so that it has to be a young person, under 19 or under, that is affiliated with an entity, a nonprofit in your village. If they're selling some stuff on behalf of a school group or a club, all you need is a letter from the school saying you're going to be getting, the football team might be knocking on your door to sell, whatever. So it's still there. It's just not as expansive as it used to be.
And religious groups, I don't mind, honestly, the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're always very nice, very pleasant, well-dressed, and, very nice. When I say thank you, no thank you, they
Right, right. So religious groups, if somebody wants to knock on your door and talk about that or talk about politics, that's totally exempt. It's not subject to this ordinance at all.
I think if they walk all the way up Fran's driveway.
I know.
They did, she got him.
Walk
No,
all the way
did.
down, then they gotta walk all the way
I know.
back.
Yeah, that's a long
Well,
walk.
they drive up, but.
So I need a motion from the committee to move this to the village board, a motion and a second and a vote.
I'll move this item to the village board.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Who was that, Mike?
Yep.
Yep.
Mike, any other further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is moved to the board. Thank you. Repeal and replace ordinance Title 2, Chapter 1, and create a new Title 2, Chapter 2. Who's leading on this one?
That one's mine.
Oh,
So this is the one that's going to create the central count for
Okay.
elections. So basically, we'll be establishing a municipal board of absentee ballot canvassers. That's a really fancy way of saying central count location. I did actually talk to Wendy last week about this, and we will not actually be able to do this year because we have a primary in February. It's too soon. So, and I can't do central count in April and not February, so it'll have to wait until next year. But we can go ahead and get this through if you so choose to approve it. It just won't go into effect. We'll have to maybe adjust the language a little bit in the ordinance or hold off on approving it, whichever way Elaine or whoever thinks would work better, so that it won't actually go into effect until after the election on April 1st.
the spring election.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions of our clerk? No? Okay. I need a motion to move this to the board too then, please.
I'll move the ordinance establishing a municipal board of absentee ballot canvassers to the board.
Thank you, Fran. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? It is moved to the board. Employee handbook update to be consistent with the 2023-25 PD contract. Who's got the lead on this? Todd?
I have this one. So what you have in here is a number of changes that are related to the police contract that we recently just signed for 2023 through 2025. The memorandum here follows the same kind of format that you were given last time. Changes were made to the handbook, so it kind of explains what the change is, the reason for the change, and then the specific language for the change. So what you will see is a change in the handbook on page 18, page 32, and then page 39. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does
you
anybody have any
related to
questions
this.
of Todd?
Nope.
No?
I'll make a motion to move to the board for approval, for
Thank-
discussion and approval.
Thank you,
Second.
Nancy. I'm sorry, who said
Fran.
second? Oh, Fran did?
I did.
Thank you, Fran. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? It is moved to the board. Oak Creek Zone Baseball Park Use Agreement. Mr. Schmidt.
You get to talk.
Yeah, I get to speak for a little bit today. All right. We just had our Parks and Recreation meeting prior to this, and it was recommended for approval to the village board on the 28th for a park use agreement for a 501c3 youth organization listed as Oak Creek Zone Baseball. He had a little concern or caution because of the lateness of the approval in his world, where he's trying to get kids to sign up and get approvals. And that was going to be beyond, the 28th is beyond the time where he can get his approval. I wanted him to present, but he also coaches at Horlick. Essentially just stating to you as the board who does the final approval that while this organization is listed as Oak Creek Zone Baseball, the Village of Caledonia tries to promote youth sports from local area kids as much as possible. And I had him present as much data as he could. And I wanted him to be here, like I said, but his organization actually consists of 3 individual residents of Caledonia, and 11 of the 12 members of the team are actually from either Racine, Sturtevant, Mount Pleasant, or Franksville and Caledonia area. So before he came to you as the village board at the last second, after he's already guaranteed his sign up, I didn't want him to be rejected or needing more information. So there's no motion required at this time. I wanted to inform you guys simply to say if there was any additional input that he would need beyond what I've presented here and in my memorandum, I can go back to him and have him bring that to you guys. Otherwise, staff recommended approval using Gorney Park's East Diamond on Wednesday nights.
A quick question. So Ryan, no other, at this point, January 14th, no other organization has requested the use of this diamond?
We don't actually get a lot of requests for Gorney specifically. We actually have it reserved on Mondays and Tuesdays for the softball and kickball leagues. However, Crawford, we just recommended approval for the 28th, the St. Catherine's High School for Crawford Park. That's what we did last year as well. That's a big user of Crawford, and then that gets followed by Angels Youth Softball as well. So Crawford's already mostly booked from March through the summer.
But Gorney, that diamond, nothing, okay.
Nothing. So I recommend it. Nothing's coming that way, and it hasn't since I've been here, so I believe it's still a good use, even though the naming is Oak Creek.
Absolutely, I agree.
Make a motion to note and file.
All good on my item though, so thank you guys.
Did you want to talk about it, Mike?
No, pretty much. I said it was a good use right away when I heard it, and that that park needs more use. So more exposure. Maybe they'll switch over to be Caledonia Franksville league.
Oh, you want a name change?
What time?
So you don't need board action, so we're gonna make a motion to,
No, I need no action or anything. It's more informative because you will be getting village board
Okay.
action on the 28th. It was recommended already to the board by the Parks Committee earlier today. Just
Okay.
informative, and if I needed to come back to them.
The receive and file just for.
we're making a motion to receive and file.
I'll make a motion to receive and file.
Well, it's already been made, you can second it
I'll
though.
second.
All in favor? Aye, it's done, thank you. Convergent Technologies, I believe this is Wayne. Or the chief, who is?
Either one. I can start, and if you have any in-depth questions about public safety, building security, and cameras, you can jump in and help me out. So Convergent is the organization that put in all the door locks, security cameras, everything like that over at the public safety building. They also upgraded the door locks and the security cameras here at the Village Hall. We need to sign a support agreement with them. These are 1 year, kind of like manufacturer's builder's warranty is expiring now. We also have some software licensing for the equipment that is expiring at the end of this month. So we wanted to get this in front of you to sign or to approve this contract. They're working with OnTech to make sure that everything stays protected. Right now, it is kind of wide open on our security server over there. They can't get to it, but if someone could potentially get into it. So we want to get this done as soon as possible.
So I did have a question in it. The question was, this is campus-wide. This is all, both buildings, fire, police, and administrative, right?
Correct,
All
yes.
right. All right. Need a motion to approve and send to the board.
I'll make a
No.
motion to approve and send to the board.
Second?
Fran, did you have something else you wanted to say?
No, I just want to second it.
All right, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen. 2025 Vector Combination Sewer Cleaner Truck Sole Source. This has got to be a Tony thing.
You are correct. So the utility district would like to sole source the purchase of a 2025 Vector 2100i combination sewer cleaner truck. Essentially, the only local distributor for Vector is McQueen, and they service the entire area of Wisconsin here. Essentially, our current 2014 sewer Vector cleaner truck. It's a Vector as well. The Vector portion of it has been excellent. Guys are very familiar with it. It's dependable. It's McQueen has been very responsive anytime we've needed to do any type of repair or any type of replacement parts that we've needed along the way. One of the reasons why we'd like to go with Vector in particular is that Vector is the only sewer cleaning truck that has a telescoping boom on it. That is actually a very invaluable tool. Not all of our manholes are basically right in the middle of a lane or right off to the side. I mean, you can move the boom on certain vehicles, but to have a telescoping boom so you can just park the truck in a safe area and then move the actual boom and hoses to the manhole is actually invaluable instead of wasting time turning the boom and or repositioning the truck. The cost of the vehicle is $591,709. That is a Freightliner chassis and then all of the Vector components that go with it. It's the jet rotor head, the sewer vac tanks, the water tanks for the jetters, and all of the miscellaneous parts and components that go with it.
This is a second truck or a?
This would be a replacement truck.
So the old one will be
This would
traded
be
in or?
replacing the 2014. Reason that we would like to have this replaced now instead of we were initially looking at doing it in 2027.
Yeah.
And we've had issues with our 2014, the Mack chassis. We've had a lot of electrical issues with it. Last year alone, we had a lot of electrical issues that prevented us from doing the sewer cleaning that we had. We had our guys, kind of piecemeal the thing together as much as possible to do as much sewer cleaning as we could. We did hit the required minimum, but we don't feel that that is a sustainable model to get us to 2027. We did put this in the budget for 2025, and we kind of discussed that back in the budgeting process in October, but we would like to go forward with this for getting that Vector from McQueen.
Thank you, Tony. Any other questions for Tony?
Question. I got a question.
Dale?
Can you trade in their old one for this? Is this a,
They will not take the trade-in.
they won't take?
We would have to do it on Wisconsin surplus.
Okay, we're gonna do that?
We are looking at doing that, yes.
Is it worth anything?
Should be.
I would hope. Can't put a glider kit underneath or just keep the vac part and just put a new glider underneath it?
No, unfortunately not.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
Fran, do you have something?
This is getting paid for not out of the village overall budget. It's the
Uh,
utility.
This is actually split between the utility districts, so the sewer utility is going to be at 400,000 and the stormwater utility is at 200,000.
Lee, did you have a question?
Tony, did we talk about this at utility last month? I don't recall.
We've talked about it at the budgeting process time back in October, November. So that's the last time we talked about it.
Okay.
You need from us motion to move it to
We
the
can
board?
talk about it tomorrow too, if you'd like.
Do you need a motion to move it to the board, Tony?
I'm sorry?
You need a motion to go to the board with this?
Yes, please.
Because this will, I'll move to move the 2025 Vector 2100i combination sewer cleaner truck sole source equipment to the board for consideration.
Thank you, Fran.
I'll second it.
Dale, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It is moved forward. Items to be placed on the next meeting. Holly made me promise before she left that we would put on the next agenda the option to save postage on the water bills.
I agree with her.
Or
and
maybe
Lee's-
look at options, apparently.
Oh, Lee's right. We've talked about this forever and it sort
Who do
of
we
drifts
dump
off
this on,
into
though?
the,
Who on staff, Todd, do we, but we're just up on a Todd, he can distribute it.
because I, like Lee, I get bills for 15 cents sometimes.
I wish I did. I do too.
I don't.
I wish I did.
Okay, so Todd, will you look into that, please? Thank you, sir.
But one thing that I would like to see, Tom.
Yes, ma'am.
is I know that you're on, I think it's that countywide committee of heads of government, whatever it is.
Yes.
Could you report to us periodically on what it is that you're talking about?
Of course, we're not meeting again till March, I think it is.
That's okay, whenever.
We had a delay because Jonathan passed away.
Oh,
so,
right,
yeah.
right.
What's the name of that?
It's the Racine County Intergovernmental Cooperation, something,
Okay.
And also,
something.
I know that we've been talking forever about coordinating or combining fire departments. If whoever is dealing with that could let us know where that stands, that'd be good.
Ah.
That kind of fell by the wayside mainly because their costs are substantially higher than ours, South Shore's costs. And there's certainly, it appears to be absolutely no improvement in service. So we've
Huh.
kind of let it fall.
Oh, okay, but
Wait a
even
minute,
that
our attorney's
report,
got another opinion.
but that would be good to have that, to hear that.
Talk about
Okay.
what?
Well, let's put it on the agenda and then
We
you
can talk about, I'll bring it up again,
then
all
you
right?
can tell us that,
Can
yeah.
you give me just a short summary of what that is?
Short
What-
summary on combination with South Shore Fire Department. Nancy, did you have something?
I got one that I don't know if it belongs on Cal or for the board, is asking Stacy Santiago, who's the executive director out at Sino KRLT, to come talk to us about, she handles all of the reviews of our conservation subdivision pieces and what our relationship with them looks like, just as, and to meet us. Should that be a Cal or should that be a board? Well, I mean.
We put it on the agenda to talk about it, yeah. We'll put that on the agenda to discuss.
Okay, and I mean, it can be whenever she's available,
Yeah,
we can make it
all right.
work. Okay.
Anything else for committee of the whole?
That's going to be on a,
It's on,
That's-
on the pending
It's in the
items.
works.
it's on a pending item. Yeah,
In the works, yeah.
Pete is.
what's the name of that organization?
Anything else?
No, it hasn't been in the works for a long time.
Anything else?
But
Going once,
Yeah,
going twice?
Tom, hold on. I have a question on the merging of our fire departments. We discussed this quite a while ago, and I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we were gonna get a copy of their latest, they had a study done like
Yeah,
15 years ago. I thought they
Right.
said
Oh,
it was
yeah.
updated since then. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought we were gonna get a copy of that. If there is such a thing, can we get it prior to the next meeting so we can review it? I don't know if it's out there or
think
not.
they published that, did they? They had a study quite a while ago.
I was asked to look for that and I found no records
Yeah,
of that in my office.
I don't think it was published.
Well,
whatsoever.
I've got a copy of the one from 15 years ago. I don't know how relevant it is, though.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing it. I went to a meeting we had talking about joining the parks and the fire departments.
Yeah.
So it was a dual.
Well, again, that's on the subject of next committee of the whole.
If I find a copy of it, do you want me to forward it to?
Yeah, but if it's 15 years old.
No, okay. I'm just asking.
Thank you, everybody. We are adjourned.
yeah.
Wait, we got one more.
Well, I'm sorry.
What?
Continuing business.
My
We're
goodness.
not adjourned?
We got one
I
more
feel
item.
offended now.
Continuing business.
I'm sorry, Tony. My
Oh,
apologies.
yeah,
So,
right. I had asked for that.
yeah, so for the last agenda item before adjournment is
Oh,
7A,
rainfall, I'm
which is
sorry.
the discussion of rainfall intensity. Essentially, I put together a memo for you, just to kind of outline some terms here. So like rainfall frequency, you often hear engineers or myself or others talk about a 2-year storm or a 10-year storm or a 100-year storm.
Right,
Essentially, it's a probability. It's not an event that occurs every
Right.
100 years or every
Right.
10 years or every 2 years. It's actually a probability. So a 2-year storm has a 50% probability of happening in any given year. A 10-year storm has a 10% chance of happening in any year, and a 100-year storm has a 1% chance of happening in any given year. So once you kind of realize that, the frequency of the storms that we're having or how we relate to them
mm-hmm,
kind of changes or should change. Now, when we review stormwater management plans, we look at the 2, the 10, and the 100. You'll often hear me say 100 to 10, 10 to 2. And essentially what that means is the 100-year post has to be reduced to below the 10-year pre, and the 10-year post has to be reduced lower than the 2-year pre. Now, what I'm talking about there is peak runoff rates. And when we calculate those peak runoff rates, there's a couple different ways to do it. There's the rational method, which is Q equals CIA, coefficient of the soil type or the land coverage, the intensity of the storm, and then the area. And then Q is your runoff. I have been privy to using the SCS method, or the NRCS method, which I think is more accurate. The rational method is typically good for drainage basins that are under 20 acres, but anything above that, it's usually not as good for. Where the NRCS, the SCS method is good for typically all sizes of drainage basins, regardless of intensities or what storm you're running through. So essentially, in my time as being the assistant engineer and then the village engineer and whatever I am now, we have changed the rainfall depths 3 times. And those have steadily gone up. It's dependent upon weather patterns that occurred. It seems to be typically over the last decade or so. When I looking back and doing research, it looks like the last ones are like from 2013-ish. There was some other ones that were around the turn of the century, and then there was some from the 1990s and some from the 80s, and some of that stuff is about as far back as it goes. But why I bring that up is the current rainfall depths that we use are now part of it's called Atlas 14, and it's provided by NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. You can go on their website and you can punch in coordinates. I think it even lets you punch in your address, and then it will populate a table, which I've attached one for the village hall here, of what the appropriate NOAA runoff rates are for that particular location. Now, back in about 2013, NOAA and NRCS and the Wisconsin DOT and Sewer PAC, and I believe there was one more in there, and the DNR, all kind of cooperatively looked at the rainfalls that occurred over history, and they came up with rainfall depths to be used for each of the counties in southeastern Wisconsin. So I believe, yes, one of the pages in your packet looks like this, and it's got some highlighted numbers on it. Those are the current rainfall depths that we're using. The 267, the 377, and the 592. Now, essentially from the last round, and I believe I've used these for it's probably right around a decade now. From the last round, the 2-year increased by 3.9%, the 10-year increased by 4.1%, and the 100-year increased by 0.7%. Now, I can tell you that they have increased about that same rate from the previous numbers. It's just I have a harder time finding those because they were kind of ones that I knew were old when I got in here, and it's like, we got to change these. So that's part of it. The second part of it is an actual distribution curve that goes into the SCS method. And when you use the NOAA numbers, traditionally in the past, you always use the SCS type 2 distribution. And what it is it looks like a curve, and it basically tells you how much rainfall falls at any particular time for any particular storm. And essentially however steep the curve is, it kind of shows off how much intensity that the runoff number comes back with. Obviously, the steeper the curve, the higher the runoff number. We went away from using the type 2 and went to an MS3 distribution. It works better with the numbers from NOAA. It's actually recommended by Sewer Pack to use either their distribution, which is a little, it's not as um, intense of a storm, but they also recommend that you can use the MS3 distribution, which has a little bit higher intensity. Now, going back and looking at what it does compared to a type 2 distribution, is you're looking at approximately a 12% increase in your peak volumes from the type 2 to the MS3. So I do feel that with the numbers that we're using right now, the rainfall numbers and the MS3 distribution, I do feel that we are at a minimum current with what is going on out there. Time will tell. If we do happen to get more intense storms, time will tell how much those numbers will increase. And again, it appears that Sewer Pack does that review about every decade or so, and they might start looking at it in the near future. I can tell you that what they did do, they did review a bunch of the higher intensity rainfall events that occurred since
Mhm.
this distribution was put in place. They reviewed the June 2008 storms, the July 2010, July 2017, May 2020, and then the September of 22. A lot of them fell right into place with the storm events. The two kind of outliers, there's the June 2008 storm. That one, I think, is probably the worst one I've ever witnessed, based on where flooding occurred and how much flooding was out there. But comes back that was approximately a 200-year rain event, so basically a 0.5 probability. And then they also reviewed the September 22 event, and that one actually produced 9.76 inches of rain, where I believe in our area that we kind of maxed out at about 8.1. But 913 fell within the area, and they're calling that approximately a 1,000-year storm or a 0.1% chance of occurring. Now, when they do these reviews, they will take the outliers. They'll like get rid of the top one, and they'll probably get rid of some of the lower events at the bottom as well to kind of blend things going forward. But long story short, I do think that the numbers we're using, by using NOAA, by using the MS3 distribution, we are calculating stormwater appropriately for at least the near future.
Okay. And I had asked Tony to look at that because of global warming. We're getting more intense rainfall. I mean, if you look at what happened in North Carolina and really what's happening in California, I mean, these natural occurrences are being more intense. And so I was thinking that if we need to adapt our infrastructure to that reality, that's something that we ought to look at. That was really the impetus for my thinking about that.
Sure. Now, in addition to that, I mean, right now, all of our stormwater ponds, the way they're designed today, again, it's the 100 to 10, 10 to 2. That's the base level. So, like the majority of your subdivisions and or commercial developments will have that level of protection. That's actually a higher level of protection than most of the communities that surround us. Most of them actually do peak matching, which we've found doesn't necessarily work. In some of our areas within the village, we actually even have developments that are within our stream protected areas. So the Homestead Acres and that channel that runs through on Dunklow Road out from our industrial park, any developments that are larger than 15 acres, we require 100 to 2 reduction. That is, again, extremely, extremely restrictive. It makes those stormwater ponds bigger. It makes them hold back more water. It makes them hold it back longer. In Homestead Acres, you'll even find out when and if Newport and Ray bring that forward, that there's actually additional storage that I've incorporated into it because I know that there's issues with that channel and trying to make sure that we keep properties downstream from being affected. But anytime you change or make infrastructure drain additional sizing,
Mhm.
there's a cost associated with that. We right now design our culvert pipes underneath driveways for a 10-year storm or the 10% potential or probability. Ponds are always designed for 100-year, the 1% probability. One other thing that we do over and above what some other communities do as well is we make them do a 100-year water surface elevation in a pond, and then we require a minimum half a foot of freeboard from the 100-year water surface elevation to the overflow weir.
Mm.
So it actually holds even more than that. Now, in addition, we also make them do what's called a plugged outlet analysis. We make them run a 100-year storm through the pond, but we make that the outlet structure is completely plugged, and the only outlet that you would have would be the overflow weir. That is one thing that we check as well to make sure that the properties downstream are protected. That additional half a foot of freeboard from the 100-year to the overflow is huge in making the release from an emergency overflow weir stay at a level that's even acceptable to the reductions from the pre to post. So we do have a lot of things that we take into account in that. But again, anytime you look at adding additional protection, so if we went from the 10-year to the 25-year on design, culvert sizes get bigger, ditches get wider, and there's a cost associated with that. You will find that in certain situations, the cost will be too much to bear, even if it was our project or if it was a private development project. We're actually seeing that, and this is somewhat relatable, but not really. On the sanitary sewer side, right now there's a 5-year level of protection that's required by the DNR. To go to even a 10-year level of protection, you are talking tens of millions of dollars. It is astronomical what even a little bit of extra can cost you in those types of things. So now here's the other thing that you're going to want to take away from this. Do you want to protect to a level less than a 1% chance of occurring? And that's that there's 1% chance of it happening. Yes, it can happen. We can't say that it won't, but I don't imagine that this board is going to want to protect to something that has less than a 1% chance of occurring.
Right, cost benefit analysis.
Correct.
Thank you. This is helpful.
Any other questions that I kind of rambled on there for a while?
I enjoyed it though.
We followed
I
you.
did.
Did a good job, Tony.
Cool,
Yeah.
that's fun.
And we're able to
Spending
follow.
the night here anyway.
Oh, good.
I think
Yeah.
we're, thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Oh, do we want to receive and file this? Or?
We are adjourned. Thank you.
All right.